Hey, how's everybody doing? It's Stockliff here, and welcome to the first edition of NBA Standings. And this is just basically me talking about the current NBA standings. But into the future, I may add some gameplay or whatnot. But as I'm looking at right now, this is probably going to be maybe a weekly series or 3 to 5 days. It really depends. I can do this every other day. I can probably do this every single day if I really wanted to. But the thing is, I just want to discuss the NBA because it's been away from my channel for a while, and with NBA 2K12, it's sort of been up in the air lately, and I haven't really been wanting to post anything of that. But what I could do is feature a little bit of gameplay along with the NBA standings. So, anyways, if you don't know what's going on, I'm basically just going to break down the current NBA standings and how they look right now, such as the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference, compare the two, look at the teams that's within the conference and whatnot. So without further ado, we shall begin. So starting out with, we have the Eastern Conference here, and Chicago is currently on top. And I really don't see them giving up that top spot for a very long time to come. And Miami at number 2. These two are going to battle it out for the most part throughout the season with the number 1 spot, I can see. Because if you look all the way down the list, Washington, I really don't think they're going to make the playoffs. And I really don't see any of these teams such as Washington, New Jersey, Charlotte, Milwaukee. I draw the line there. I think those 4 teams really have no chance of making the playoffs. That's just me. I just don't think they have a strong enough team. And this Eastern Conference, if you really look into it, is getting weaker, it appears. Because if you look at the 8th spot, you see Philadelphia, and they're at 500 right now, which is iffy because we have, look how many teams. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 teams that are 2 and 3 right now. And I know that you can't really tell anything from this early on inside the season, but just from looking at these numbers and what I can tell from this, you can sort of see who's going to be on top and who's not. I can see Chicago, Miami, Boston, Atlanta, and Orlando all for sure making it, but the others I'm still iffy about. Now, Indiana at a 4-1 right now inside 3rd place, that surprises me a little bit. I really don't know where their play is coming from other than Danny Granger, and that's about it. Maybe Darren Collinson. I don't see too much of an expansion going on in Indiana, but I think Indiana's only loss so far is to Chicago, so that's good so far. I mean, if you're going to lose, it might as well be to the best inside the conference as in of right now. So without further ado, we'll go to the Western Conference. All right, so if you look at the Western Conference right now, it is crazy, and this is why I love talking about the Western Conference. You know, I'm an Eastern Conference fan, and I always root for the East versus the All-Star game, but the West is absolutely crazy because you see last year's champions at the very bottom, 15th in their conference overall. So, you know what this says to me? I think every single one of these teams has a chance of making the playoffs. Every single one. I mean, Portland, they're not a very young team, but they're a young team without Brandon Roy at the top of this list so far. I find that to be amazing, personally. I mean, next we have Oklahoma City at number 2. I mean, that's expected. I honestly think they'll probably be the number 1 seed if they can get their act together. They have lost 2 straight. Now, the thing is, everyone has those slumps, and Kevin Durant, coming off only a 19-point game, you know, he's used to scoring 20+, and I think it was either last year or the year before last. I can't remember. But I'm pretty sure it was last year. I think he broke the record for the most consecutive 25+ point games. And I don't know if he'll break it again this year, like break his own record. But I will say this, Oklahoma City will be top 3 of the Western Conference, pretty much no doubt at this point. And then 3rd, we see San Antonio, which is sort of a surprise. I mean, they are getting a little bit old, but if they're going to make a push at all, this is the year to do it. They're 3-2 right now, which, I mean, honestly, they're only winning 60% of the time, and oh my gosh, look at this Western Conference. It's literally so close everywhere you go. So, I mean, we have LA, Denver, LA again, and I do believe that this year the Clippers will make the playoffs. I'm pretty sure that's no doubt. With the addition of Chris Paul and with DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin, I find it to be, if you don't make the playoffs there's something wrong. I would say they're probably going to end up 4th or 5th, and the Lakers and the Clippers might have to play each other first round in the playoffs. I'm just throwing that out there. Probably they may be 4 and 5 seeds together. I mean, that's a possibility, but it's hard telling this early into the season again. But we'll just see down the road how it goes, or the next time I check this out, maybe the standings will be differentiated enough to where I can tell who's going up and who's going down. Because so far, Dallas is sort of on a roll. Because I think they lost their first 3 games, or maybe even 4. I have no clue, but at least they're starting to win more. And, Dirk really comes around during the playoff time. So, I mean, I think Dallas, honestly, will be probably a 3 seed by the end of it. I mean, the way I'm looking at it, it probably goes OKC, Dallas. It's hard to tell right now, but another addition, watch out for Golden State this year. Mark Jackson, their new head coach, has things under control, I do believe. And I think he will be able to put them back on top, sort of. Not necessarily like they were, that run and gun style until the 90s. Now, that was a good time with Don Nelson. Well, no, not Don Nelson. But Don Nelson took over a few years ago, but I forgot who the head coach was during that era. But anyways, expect Golden State to be around 7th or 8th, making the playoffs. I don't see Phoenix keeping it up for much longer. Not really New Orleans. I mean, they did lose CP3, but in a good deal. And if you're wondering about how that whole charade went down, it's because New Orleans, or New Orleans, however you want to pronounce it, is the actually only team that's owned by the NBA, and the NBA can sort of dictate its trades. So, they wanted this trade to be fair, and you know what? I think it was. I think it was a pretty fair trade because New Orleans got Eric Gordon and Chris Kaman, and I mean, those are 2 terrific players. So, I mean, don't count them out of the playoffs. Be looking for them. And also be watching out for Minnesota. They started off very rough, but Kevin Love has been outstanding. He's already got a 30-20 game this season, 30-point, 20-rebound game. And I think he's going to continue. I mean, he's one of the most consistent players in the NBA, and he needs to be recognized. So I hope you enjoyed this first episode, or whatever you want to call it, edition of NBA standings. So anyways, hope you guys have enjoyed, and as always, have a nice day.